What's up, guys? Erasable Crap here. Welcome back to the Automotive Channel. Today we're doing something exciting. We're going through my tool haul on Icon tools. All the tools you're going to see are Icon today. You might see my Heart utility knife. That's not part of it. That's just for unboxing purposes. So the first thing we got here is the Icon Professional Mini Torque Screwdriver set. Some of you may be like, well, Erasable Crab, you said you didn't like the Icon handles for the screwdrivers, and I don't on the full-size ones. I don't know what it is about it, because I've had the Icon picks, which use this smaller handle, because these are mini screwdrivers. I don't know what it is on the big handles. I think they're a little bit too big, where they're not really comfortable for me. But I've had good luck with the pick set, and the pick set feels pretty good in my hand. So I'm hoping with these mini screwdrivers will solve that issue. Now the question is, how can I open this without completely destroying it? I don't care if the packaging gets like too beat up after I know that the product's fine, but I don't want to get like, I'm sure they wouldn't do it, but you know, some companies, they'll like charge you if there's extra damage to that packaging, which is kind of ridiculous, but some companies do it. I don't really agree with it. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comments. This was more of a pain to open than I thought. Alright, I'll pause and I'll come back when I got this open. Alright, so I got that open. It didn't take too much longer. You can see they come in this nice case, and then underneath it's a piece of cardboard you can take out that just helps them stay a little more secure when they're in this box versus when you have this out. You don't need that. So let's take a quick look at them. Let's grab this one. See, on top it says T8. This is our T8 Torx. Feels very good in the hand. I think the problem that I have with the Icon screwdrivers, the big ones, I think their handles are just too big, because when it's like this and I get the grip down here, it works perfectly fine, and these feel really good in my hand. Let's just grab it, and they fit in there pretty well too. This is a T15. There you go, you can see that now. And again, and then they also have this hex bolster, which I believe you can put a 10mm wrench on if you need a little bit more torque, although I personally don't like doing that. So I probably won't. Just because it's like, if I need to apply extra force with something this short, I probably have a socket that I can use instead of a screwdriver, and I'd rather use the socket and get more leverage than break like a mini screwdriver or a screwdriver in general. Me personally, when I put these in my toolbox, I like keeping the lids, and then sometimes you can stack them. These ones don't really stack, but if I'm using it, I'll just set it off to the side, and then when I'm done, I put this back on. That way, like dirt and stuff doesn't build up. So let's go through this again with the regular screwdrivers. Again, what you just saw was the Torx. Here we have the Phillips and flatheads, and these have a 1/8 inch and 3/16 inch for the flatheads, and then a Phillips 0 and Phillips 1. So it's not something you're going to be using all the time, but it's also not terrible, because sometimes you do need it, and I'd rather be able to have it in this format. As I struggle to get it open, I'd rather have it in this format than try to find like a Phillips 0 socket, because Phillips and flatheads for sockets, I don't really like them. I noticed they tend to slip a lot. Alright, so we got that open. And again, these are just, I think from the tip all the way to here is 6 inches long. So they are mini. They might look They might look bigger like in the pictures and stuff, but trust me, they're not. Because I thought the same thing with the pick set. Here, I'll grab the normal Icon flathead. And you can see the difference. Just how long they are. And that's just the, I think this is a 3/16. So, that's the normal one. These are the mini ones. You can see, yeah, just how much bigger that is. I do like how they are consistent. So you can see these are both flatheads. They got the same marking. Same thing with our Phillips heads. This is the Phillips 1. So it just says, it just has the plus. It doesn't say the size like the Torx do, which I would prefer for at least the Phillips. Flatheads, I don't really care if they have the marking of the size, but I do like it on the Phillips. But you can see these also have that anti-cam out tip that's popular with the Icons and everything. Supposed to give you a good grip. Circular shanks. It's a mini screwdriver. You don't need a hex shank or a square shank. You don't need anything fancy. So those are our 2 mini screwdriver sets. Let me get the cardboard out of the bottom of that. You guys aren't going to be able to see that though. Next, let's move on to the thing I'm the most excited for. This is the Icon Professional Ratchet. This is the swivel head 90-tooth 3/8 drive. This is my first ever Icon ratchet. I've always had Pittsburgh ratchets. Now I know the Icon, you know, they have a similar design, but these are 72 tooth. This one happens to be my flex head, but I have non-flex heads too. But this will be a good comparison. I'll do a video on that so you guys can see the difference. Because there are cases where a swivel head is going to be better than a flex head. With that said, I'm so excited to tear into this thing and get it open. So, let's go ahead and do that. I'll pause it and come back because I feel like this is going to be a struggle. Alright, now that I've got the top open and I cut the 2 plastic pieces, this should come out with a little bit of maneuvering. There we go. This feels unreal right now, guys. I am so excited to finally get my hands on an Icon ratchet. Again, this is the first one I've ever had. It comes with this cleaning cloth. This will probably stay in its package, if I'm being honest. I don't clean my tools with these. But maybe I will. I'll give it a try at least. So let's get this out of its little case. I like the Gen 1 Icon stuff, and I'll probably invest in that over the Gen 2 because I like having these cases. If I have the room for it in my toolbox, I will store it in this case. Although this one's a little bit big for my toolbox because I have the US General 5-drawer 30-inch roll cart, and I have a bunch of sockets up there and a bunch of other ratchets, so this probably won't fit up there. I'll probably have to put it at the bottom. But this is pretty much a specialty ratchet. It sounds nice. You can see the little selector gears right there. So I just turned it to reverse, and then that's forward. So you can see that. Here is the handle, and then on the Icon you actually have a, see if I can get it to focus, you have a part number R2SW on the ratchet. Now one thing, oh actually never mind, I was gonna say one thing I don't like is that the Icon branding, I had this flipped, so I thought it was on the same side by default, but nope, I just flipped it. So it is on the right side. That's good. That wouldn't be a deal breaker for me, but it's just a little weird. But it feels good in the hand. It doesn't feel too much different from the Pittsburgh. I can grab that. Wherever I put it, there it is. Let me just get a feel for it. I'd say the Pittsburgh is a little bit softer of a grip, whereas the Icon is more of like a harder handle, but it's not too much different, and it feels beefier, so I do like it. It's just a little bit different from what I'm used to, but I always like to try new things, and this ratchet will get good use. It fits in the case nicely too. So with that said, let's move on to our next items. Alright, so here we have these 8-inch fast adjust push button slip joint pliers. These are the Icon brand, again, everything is. Let's unbox these with our Icon flush cut pliers. Just one zip tie. Cut it. It comes out of there. And usually the pliers are pretty easy to unbox. You just gotta kind of twist them. Just like that. So I like unboxing the pliers because of that. These have a nice smooth opening. They're not too tight. They're actually pretty loose compared to what I'm used to. I expected them to have a little bit of resistance like these do. There's a little bit, but there's like no resistance. You can see if I just let them go, they open, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I guess it's okay. When you're using a plier like this, that might actually be helpful. So you can see, super easy to adjust, locks into place. I really like that. I like the Icon handles a lot. So with that said, let's move on to our next set. And I will let you guys know the rest of the video from this point on is all pliers, except for at the end you'll see what that is. We have one kind of weird item at the end. So here we have the Icon pliers wrench. These are 10-inch. I'm going to unbox those. Again, I'm using my Icon flush cut pliers to unbox these. And then I'm going to use the same method. See if it works even with something this big. There we go. That was actually pretty easy. I mean, it ruins the packaging a little, but who cares? It's going to get thrown out anyway. Or actually probably recycled, because I think you can recycle this. But I'm going to keep it for now. That way I can refer to it on YouTube Shorts when I make a short of overviewing it. So you can see these. These are a pliers wrench, which is good because every pair of adjustable pliers I've ever had have had significant play in the jaw. Now, I'm sure where these are so big, they'll have a little bit of play in the jaw, but they shouldn't have as much as what I'm used to. And you can see they open pretty wide, and then it's super easy. You just push this in, they move smoothly. It probably sounds bad on camera. There's a little bit of gliding. There's not too much where I'm concerned about it. Like, they move pretty easily, and they look nice too. And you can see, I'll show you. I can adjust them down. They have this nice edge on them, so that way you can use them as an adjustable wrench, which will be very helpful. So there you go. You can see how they look. That's the front. That's the back. Then we'll move on to our next set of pliers. Here we have the Icon 8-inch hose grip pliers. Sometimes you're working with a hose and you just need that extra little bit to get it off. So I figured these would be a good investment. So let's get these open, and then I can show you guys a little bit more. Those came out of the package nice and easy. You can see they have this design to them. And they've got the classic, like, the classic type of pliers indent to them. I don't really know the scientific name for them. They open pretty wide. And then I think you do get a cutter in this piece. Actually, no, that isn't a cutter. That might just be the design of it. But this is really all I can show you. They have a slight angle to them. I think it's like a 45-degree. And these are going to be super helpful for any of those hoses that like to get stuck. So here's the front view. Here's the view of them in the back. Then we'll move on to our next pair of pliers. Here we have the Icon 11-inch long reach pliers. You can see these are just the straight ones. Let's cut that. And you can see I'm proving how useful those flush cuts are, because you can see it's a nice clean cut. It's not sharp. It's not going to cut you. Versus the diagonal cutters, they'll leave a sharp edge that will cut you. So that's why I'm using those, in case anybody's wondering. Even with something like a utility knife, you can still get cut on, because that'll leave a sharp edge. So these are like any other needle nose pliers, except they're longer. They extend out to about the same. But you can see where they're super long. Sometimes it's hard to reach into those places. They're easy to work back and forth, and they are super nice. I'm going to get good use out of these in certain situations. So here's the front view. I know you can't see the whole thing, but you get the idea. There's the back view, and we'll move on to our next item. This is the last item for our pliers group. These are the pistol grip needle nose pliers. These are 11-inch, so they're an inch longer, or no, they're the same length as our other ones, but these are the pistol grip. So sometimes you need to get to a bolt, or not a bolt, sometimes you need to get to like a radiator drain plug or something on a car, and you get in there and you're like, oh, well, these pliers aren't really working, let's try the long reach. But sometimes you just need a little bit more of an angle, and that's exactly what these give you. So that way you can go in from the side, grab it, you know, turn it, and get that radiator drain plug open. Trust me, I've done that before, and I didn't have a set of these, and it was a pain. Let's get these out of their package. I think it's actually a little bit easier for these longer pliers to come out of the package. I haven't been struggling with that at all. So you can see these have this little metal piece that acts as a spring, and so they stay open a little. They have that same knurling that the Icon 8-inch needle nose pliers do, which actually I think, yeah, you can see the long reach, on the left that I'm waving here, these are just the 11-inch long reach, the straight ones. You can see they have that pattern versus these ones where they have the nice cross-hatched pattern. So that'll give you a really nice grip, but it's not the best for every situation. So you can see that these are going to get used every now and then. Front view, back view. And we'll move on to our last item. Alright, this is our last item, the Icon Professional Scraper Set. So it has that bigger handle, but this is a scraper. It's not going to get used every day. And when you do, you'll probably end up gripping it down here anyway. So this is actually a really nice handle for that. And then it has 10 single-edge blades that are included. So let's see if I can get this unboxed without any help from a knife or anything, just by twisting it. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. No, I'm gonna have to cut around, so I'll pause and come back when I got that. Alright, so that actually wasn't too difficult, just had to cut around it, but I was trying to go fast, so I completely messed up this packaging. Oh well, I don't care about it that much. So you can see, got the Icon handle, and then It comes with a razor blade already included, it looks like. I think there's just a protector on it, so that way you don't cut yourself. Either that, or... No, it does look like there's one in there. I'll figure that one out later, but this is our last item. Not something you use all the time, but when you need to, it is genuinely helpful. And with that said, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.